Hello everyone, welcome back to Caliburn Fitness. We're coming at you with our first full instructional video. And since we're starting from the beginning, I figure it's good to start with what you should do at the beginning of your workout, which is stretch. Now, stretching is one of the few things I would say you should do 100% of the time. Regardless of injuries you may have, regardless of limitations you may have, some form of stretching, no matter what extent it is vital to staying healthy and getting the most out of your workout. In addition, stretching is something you can do very easily and integrate into your routine, your daily routine very easily without much commitment, without much disturbance of your day-to-day time. It only takes a minute or two at the most. You can do it when you first wake up, when you first go to bed, when you're brushing your teeth, right before you eat breakfast, right after you eat breakfast, before you get in the car to go to work. Any little gap in your morning or evening routine where you have a couple minutes to slide something in, just fitting stretching in there, that's it. That is an excellent start to working fitness into your day-to-day routine without shifting things up too much. So we're going to go top to bottom. We're going to start with our head and our neck, and we're going to work our way all the way down with stretches most people will find easy to do. Now, if you have some form of injury or some form of limitation, you may need to modify these in some way so that they're safe for you to do. That's okay. That is 100% okay. You should not push yourself to do something that will put you at risk of injury just to perform at the same level you see other people doing. What you need to do is what you need to do. Now, from the top, literally, we're going to start with our neck. We're going to take our head and we're going to push it to one side. Now, you can just stand and push with your neck, or you can take one hand and push on your head to give that little extent, or with your other hand, wrap it around and pull if you find the need to. And what we're looking to do is to stretch out the muscles all along our neck into our shoulder. You should be feeling the burn in there. And you want to go as far as you can, roughly, once you start to feel the tightness, once you start to feel the stiffness as your muscles are getting pulled out. You want to go as far as you can and hold it for a little bit. When you're first starting out, I would say 10 seconds is about good. Push it further if you need more flexibility. Push it lower if you have neck injuries or anything that make this dangerous to do and you need to take it slow at first. You want to do the one side and you want to do the other. Another thing you can do is take your opposite side hand and pull down on the shoulder, but typically I find this just pulls my head back up. So if you're going to do this, you have to push really hard with just the muscles in your neck to push your head to the side to resist that. And we're going to hold it for a little bit. And there we go. Okay. Now for our neck, we're going to take our head and we're going to move it in circles as such. This isn't anything you particularly need to worry about injury with. There's no special trick to doing it. Unless you have an injury already you need to be careful of. You're just taking your head, you're swiveling it a few times one way, and then a few times the other way. And this you will feel in the same muscle groups, but as you hit the back of the extension and you hit leaning forward in the extension, you should feel some level of tightness in the muscle groups lining up with that. Not a whole lot. If you're feeling a great deal of tightness, that's something to be worried about. But otherwise, it's very simple, it's very straightforward. A few one way, a few the other way. Now, we're going to move down to our shoulders. And there are 3 shoulder stretches we're going to start out with. The first is to take one arm. You're going to pull it across your body, across your chest. Then you're going to take your other arm and brace it right about here, right above the elbow. Should be where it lines up. If it doesn't, that's okay. Different people have different lengths of arms. And you're going to pull it across. Now, something to be careful of with this, proper technique with this, isn't to push with this arm. It's to relax all up in this arm, relax all of the muscles you're stretching, and let this arm do the work. You're pulling it out. You're pulling your relaxed arm. And you should feel it all up in where your trapezius, where your back muscles start to roll over your shoulder. You should feel those getting nice and taut as you do this. So you want to go as far as you can. I find it helps to aim a little high, bring it across your upper chest where your clavicle is, so your pectoral muscles, not that mine are massive or anything to get in the way, but so that they don't get in the way, you can get that little bit of extra distance with it. And you want to pull it and hold it, and then once you're ready, slowly release. Next, we're going to take that same arm, and we're going to pull it behind our head as such, like you have an itch on your back, you're trying to scratch it, you just can't reach it. Now, you want to take the arm, and you want to bring it over, and then take your other arm, reach around, and pull gently on that elbow. And just like with the first one, you're looking to relax all the muscles up in here. You're not reaching with this arm, you're pulling this arm with this arm. And you want to go as far as you can, and hold it for as long as you can, 10 seconds, just like before, if that's where your starting point is. And then once you're ready, release. Now our third one we're going to do is we're going to take the same arm, and we're going to bring it behind our back like such. As opposed to going high, we're going low this time. And you want to grab it about around the wrist with the other arm and pull. Now you want to avoid bending it upwards. That's going to put you at risk of injury more easily, and it's not getting as much outstretch. You want to keep this arm as straight as you can and pull. And you should feel it up in the front where the chest comes up to meet the shoulder. And as always, this arm is relaxed and this arm is pulling on it. And you want to hold that for as long as you need, and then slowly release. And we're going to do the same 3 with the other arm. So the arm comes around. I find when doing this one, it helps to turn into it a little bit. So my torso turns just a little bit to really secure this clench. That's not the right word. Clench implies it's stiff. We want to be as loose as possible. Pull it and hold it. And then around here, we want to pull slowly as far as we can go. Hold it and release. And then pull, hold, and release. Whew. Okay. Now we're going to work our way down to our midsection, our hips and our waist in that area. We're going to do the traditional bending down and touching our toes. Probably done this a million times if you've done yoga, if you had PE class, if you've done pretty much any kind of guided physical fitness in your life. So I'm going to step back as much as I can so you can see. We're going to bring our legs together. At first, this is the first way we're going to demonstrate this. Bring our legs together, and we're going to bend down. Now, you might notice I'm curving my back. We want to avoid that. I have issues with it. It's a bad habit. We want to avoid bending our back as much as possible. We want our back, our vertebra, to be 100% straight as much as we can. So you're going to bend more at the waist and go down as far as you can without bending your back. Now, if that means you only go so far to keep your back straight, that's fine. It's better to only go a little bit and keep your back straight than to go super far and you're shrimping up all up in your back. So we're going to keep our back straight and bend down as far as we can, keeping our back as straight as we can as we do it. Now you should feel it up in the calf area, maybe up into the thigh as those muscles get pulled on as you bend over. You want to be very careful if you have injuries in those areas. Take it slow, take it easy, don't push yourself if you have to. We're going to bend down, let it hold for as long as we can, and then come back up. Now, bringing your feet together is one way to do it. I'm going to stand a little further back so you can see this more clearly. Another way is to stand feet apart. And instead of our goal being to reach our toes, is to reach between our legs and touch the ground between our feet. Now, we still want to keep our back straight. We still want to bend at the waist. It's just a little different in terms of the stance and the way you're reaching. There isn't really the biggest difference between the two. It's just more what you feel comfortable with and what you feel more stable while doing. So we're going to do that as well. And if you can do both, that's even better. Let it hold and come back up. Okay. So another technique that stretches more along the back of the thigh is, it has a bunch of different names. I call it a swing kick. There's a dozen different names, tons of different fitness instructors call it. Whatever you call it, it doesn't matter. What you do is you take a stance like such with legs slightly apart. Typically it's similar to the stance you see boxers take. You don't have to, it doesn't matter. As long as you're stable, it doesn't matter how you stand. And what you want to do is you want to take your back leg and keep it perfectly straight and swing it upwards like this. So we're swinging it straight up. I'm going to do it again, facing it head on. Straight up. You saw my nasty ass feet. I'm sorry, but it's fitness. I gotta demonstrate it to you as well as I can. So we're going to aim for the maximum height we think we can take. We're going to start aiming for half of that. So we're just going to swing it up like so. Up like so. And we're going to do this a few times, and you should feel it all up in the back of your thigh, starting to get tense, starting to release as you do it. You want to do this slowly. Going super fast with it is an easy way to tear those muscles and cause damage. So we're going to do it nice and slow, and nice and slow. Now I'm going to go for at least close to my maximum height with it. Really experiment with this. Try it slowly, seeing how high you can get after doing other stretches, so that you have a good idea for your limit, so that you know where to aim for halfway to warm up for your limit, so you don't injure yourself. So we're going to go like this. 2. Now my goal is to bring my foot back to where I had it. If you swing up and have to shift so that that foot comes forward, then bring it back, that's perfectly fine. Oh, almost fell over. 4, 5, and now we're going to do our other leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when you're first starting out, you're not going to have much height probably, unless you're naturally flexible. Your maximum height may be waist height. It may be half of that. It may be even lower, depending on what your level of natural flexibility is. That is okay. Wherever you start out, that's your starting point, and we can work with it from there. I'm going to take some water, and then we're going to do our last bit. So I'm going to lower you on down as low as my little tripod will take you, and we're going to work our ankles. Now, this is a very simple ankle stretch, not very complicated, but still, if you have injuries in your ankles, in your feet, etc., be careful. Now, I'm going to actually take this lawn chair that is garbage. I'm going to use it to help me demonstrate. So, just pretend I'm standing flat. Now, we're going to take our foot, we're going to lift it up, and we're going to roll it around like so. Like we were doing with our neck. We're going to Slowly roll it on the ball. We're aiming for the ball of our foot, lifting up to the side like so, coming around and doing this. Now you can do this just standing, you can do it on an elevated platform. If you feel fancy or you want to practice your balance at the same time, you can even do it standing on one foot and then twisting around with the other. It's a very simple movement, very straightforward. The only thing to take note of is, again, I know I say it a lot, but it's important. If you have injuries in the area you're working, be careful. If you hurt yourself, you're only going to be doing that much less work as you recover. So, for the sake of making steady, consistent progress and not hurting yourself, it's important to be careful. So, I'm going to do these, and then I'm going to do the same with my other foot. There we go. Now, this is not the end-all, be-all of stretching. There are a million different ways to stretch. It all depends on what space you have available, what you want to do, what you're capable of doing, and what you have experience doing. For example, there are plenty of stretches that involve plopping down, spreading your legs out, and reaching from side to side. As you can see, my stone and gravel and trash covered patio is not particularly keen for such stretching. So I don't typically favor doing it out here. If I was at the gym with a nice soft mat to sit on that is clear of obstruction and I have lots of room to sit and splay out and perform the stretches, that's where I would favor those. So I'm going to prop you on back up. There are plenty of different ways to stretch. There are plenty of different ways to go about preparing your body for your workout so that you can do it to its maximum without hurting yourself. I know I've said it a million times already in this video, but it is so important both to stretch so your workout doesn't injure you and to stretch properly so that your stretching doesn't injure you either. That is the cornerstone of preparing for your workout. It is so important to start there and really take that to heart so that as you go about working out, which is something every day working out isn't going to be right for everybody. And some cases like powerlifting or bodybuilding, doing the exact same workout every day is going to be detrimental to your health. However, I would hope that to some extent working out is going to be something you plan to do regularly. And when you do something regularly, you need to learn how to do it safely, because the more you do it unsafely, the more you put yourself at risk of injury. So I know I've harped on it a whole bunch of this video. I'm going to cap it off the same way I started it and the same thing I've said all throughout. Be safe, be careful, and I will see you next time with our first proper workouts.